It's about that time of day again. My name is Joseph. Wednesday evening, February 14th. Welcome back to your nightly newsletter. We're covering crude oil, S&P, Nasdaq, gold, and euro this evening. Starting off tonight on oil, oil is bullish with a strong run higher today, telling me to use a hidden channel for the most reliable buying opportunities on Thursday. The S&P is bullish as well, but we're trading into major resistance tonight, so I'm going to stay patient for more reliable buying opportunities down at support levels, and I have my eye on that 79.5 reversal line tomorrow morning. Nasdaq also bullish as well and trying to retest a major high just a few points away and have a beautiful spike in channel screaming at us right now to stay patient and wait for those buying opportunities down in the battle zone tomorrow. Gold is also bullish with a huge, strong bull channel. Got a beautiful grind break on the yellow metal, telling us to wait for a trap low for the most reliable buying opportunities tomorrow. And of course, don't forget about the euro. The euro is also bullish with a strong move higher to finish today's session, but we're trading at major resistance on the euro. So my plan is to look for buying opportunities after a two-legged pullback tomorrow morning. We have some insanely strong trends working on pretty much all markets tonight, which means we're looking for two-legged pullbacks, trap lows, hidden channels, and possible spike in ranges for tomorrow's session. You know me, though. I got a plan for tomorrow. Thursday's session is setting up to be a fantastic opportunity to learn and earn. And before I jump in and put the plan together for Thursday's session, I want to remind you, if you're on our YouTube channel right now, don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. That way you get all the updates here every day on the YouTube channel. If you have any questions, put those in the comments below the video, and don't forget to give me a thumbs up on YouTube if you find value in today's lesson. If you're here on the blog at Sideways Markets, don't forget to join our mailing list in the upper left-hand corner. That way you never miss another nightly newsletter. Also, lower left-hand corner, I'm always posting exclusive content, stock twits, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. I'm always posting charts, links, and updates you won't find anywhere else on any of my other channels. Make sure you follow me on social media throughout the week for all those important updates. And speaking of charts, how nice is this? All the charts from tonight's video, that's right, you can have them on your computer for tomorrow, right where it says click here to download today's charts, have those ready for tomorrow's session. And speaking of tomorrow's session, what are you waiting for? Grab that free pass. We had a full house on the free pass here today, and I hope you'll come out and join me on that free pass tomorrow. Right, grab that in the upper right-hand corner, and don't forget, if you're on YouTube right now, I'll put all the links in the description of that YouTube video. Any questions, post them in the comment section below, or hit me up on live support on the right-hand side of the website. Hope you guys had a great Wednesday session. Boy, we talked about that big news coming out this morning, right? Remember yesterday, or in last night's newsletter, we talked about that big news at 8:30 this morning, and boy, did that shake things up across the board. Dollar dumps, everything jumps, and of course, we're going into some really nice, strong trends because of it for Thursday's session. Speaking of Thursday's session, what's on the schedule for tomorrow? My goal is to identify where and when those major news are coming out so I can trade around them, riding the momentum after the news, not trying to trade during the news, right? So we sit on hands a few minutes before, and then we let the news come out, wait to find out where momentum goes from there, and follow the new direction after the news tomorrow. So tomorrow's news, you can see here, it's all right around this 8:30 to 9:15 block. We have a peppering tomorrow, jobless claims, Philly Fed, PPI, then of course, right, Empire State and industrial production, literally cramming everything in that 45-minute window. So you remember what happened today at 8:30 Eastern time, right? That big momentum shift that we saw and those big explosive moves to finish up the session. That is hopefully more to come tomorrow between 8:30 and 9:15 Eastern time. Now, don't forget, I'm going to go over the plan for tomorrow's session. Big news tomorrow at 8:30. You don't have to go at this alone, right? Come out and join me in the trade room tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock Eastern time, and we are going to do it together. Let's jump right in now, taking a look at some charts here for tonight, now that we have our schedule in place for tomorrow. Let's go crude oil, then S&P, then Nasdaq, gold, and we'll wrap up on the euro. All of them have some very unique components, but they all have one thing in common. We got some really, really strong trends. First of all, starting off with the Texas tea, the black gold, the crude oil futures. Oil is bullish after today's inventory report sent prices screaming higher all the way up to a major range high from earlier this month. The bulls have control, and this strong move higher tells me I definitely want to be buying, but I don't want to buy high right now, right? That 60.83 area is a prior high off a long-term chart, right? So I'm going to do is I'm going to connect these highs, use that hidden channel, right, and try to get this thing down to that hidden channel. Couple components here on this chart right now. First of all, we have a strong move up, a pullback, an explosive move higher, right? Broke all the way through the measured move and kept on going. That tells me two important things. The fact that it blew right through that measured move gives me a long-term bull target of that 61.20 area for tomorrow. So that's where our runner targets will be here, right, if we get the pullback tomorrow. The other thing it tells me is I can take these two highs, line that up at this low, and that gives me what we call a hidden channel, right? That hidden channel is going to be prime territory for buyers coming in down around the low of that channel, right? So I'd love to be a buyer off the low of that channel. On top of that, we have our prior month low, 60.04, and we have an untested reversal line here at 59.83. So ideally, I want to incorporate the low of this kind of hidden channel here along with one of these support levels, right? And I've got support levels here, 60.37, 60.15, 60.04, and 59.83. Now, I don't know which one of those levels we're going to use, but my most important thing right now is I want to make sure, right, we combine the low of that hidden channel along with, right, one of those levels. So maybe it's right in the short term, right? Maybe it's a short-term move, or maybe it's more of a dramatic move lower, right, and then back up. The bottom line is we're definitely bullish right now, but we're buying into major range high resistance. So I'd rather buy a pullback, wait for it to pull back, try to incorporate the low of this channel, right, and try to get back up to retest the high and then hold the runner up to that bull target here for tomorrow. So what if price goes up? What if price goes down? What if price goes sideways? Well, we hope the price will pull back here. One option would be a two-legged pullback. Trend line comes down, up and over, right? That, of course, pulls back to the trend line, failure, and back up to retest, right, that high. Again, leave that runner. Target is back to retest the high. Leave the runner up into that 61.20 area, right, to finish up the session tomorrow, right? Maybe it's as simple as a failure pattern, right? Maybe we come down below the moving average, failure below the moving average, into strength, right? Strength into pullbacks, and pullbacks back up to retest the high. So again, I want to get down into this area here, pull back, and then go. What if price goes sideways here? That is definitely a possibility. Anytime we see a market that runs this strong, right, this far, we definitely know that we may not get anybody taking profit, right? We may not have buyers becoming sellers, and we may not see any sellers dare to sell this market right now, and that may cause the market to go sideways. We saw a couple great examples of this today in our trade room. Anytime we see a trading range, we then look for one try, two try, right, and that buy down below, right? One try to break out, two tries to break out. It oftentimes looks like the letter W, right? Down, up, right? Can look at that letter W. That'll be the two try rule, right? Below that trading range. That's the plan for tomorrow if we start going sideways. And what if we keep going higher here? Well, again, we have a bull target waiting overhead at 61.20. So if we continue to kind of grind our way higher here right now, right? Not to worry. I'm going to continue looking for that hidden channel, and we'll look to buy, hopefully with a move back down, trap low, down at the low of that channel. So the moral of the story is if it keeps going higher, not much changes. I just need to ratchet up my buy, right, as the market goes higher here for tomorrow. So be ready for the pullback. Be aware this might go sideways tomorrow. Be ready for that tomorrow. And again, if price continues to go higher here, keep adjusting that hidden channel, right, by drawing off those highs and wait for that pullback right off the highs. Beautiful example here on the crude of a hidden channel. From the oil, now over to the Emini. The S&P is bullish and trading into the measured move target and the high of this large bull channel right at that big round number we talked about in last night's newsletter. That tells me that we're definitely bullish, but we're a little too high to start buying right now, and I want to wait for buying opportunities after a two-legged pullback tomorrow morning. Boy, did we nail that battle zone, right? Big, strong move down, back to the moving average. They fail, and then right back up. If you watched last night's newsletter, you were locked and loaded for a beautiful buying opportunity early in the session on the S&P here today. A lot of this, though, let's zoom out quickly here, and let's take a look at the bigger picture here, right? This is the same chart from last night's newsletter, right? There's that spike in channel. And again, we had that battle zone right down at the low. Not much has changed from last night's chart. This is pretty much the same exact chart here. As you can see, also we have that larger measured move. It's actually a triple measured move, and that's where we are. So you can see right now we are definitely screaming higher right on the bull side, and this momentum is likely going to continue this market going higher here. However, we're right into the measured move resistance, and we're just a little bit below the top of that channel. So this is when I remind myself, and I'll tell you the same thing, there really isn't a lot of potential left in this move. Again, I do expect momentum to continue dragging price higher here, but at the same time though, I mean, how far can it really go before we expect to see some profit taking, right? And expect to see some sellers enter the market at that high. So yes, indeed, we definitely can continue going higher here, but there really isn't that much left to this move, and so I'd rather wait patiently for a pullback. In comes the short-term channel. This, of course, would be a spiking channel. What do we know about a spiking channel? If you watch my nightly newsletter, or if you've taken my intermediate classes here at School of Trade, you know the key to a spiking channel is looking left and finding those prior swings. Those are the most important spots now, because spiking channels are so strong that most people are already long. And the only way to get more buyers interested is to pull back to a lower price. So I'm looking for a trap low. Ideally, I'd like to come back right to that prior reversal line there at 79.5, right, and be a buyer from there to finish off of that move. So we have a lot to work with here tomorrow on the S&P. Strong trend up, but we're at resistance. So I won't want to buy at resistance. I don't want to buy at resistance. I want to buy at support. Support levels are below me here at 85 3/4. Beautiful support level here at 79.5. The prior month low, which you can see was resistance before, that will be support, right? The low of this battle zone support. And don't forget, you've got the low of that channel acting as support as well. So really all it takes right now is let's get a pullback. Hopefully it goes below the moving average. We can wait for, just like we saw back here, right? Get it below the moving average, go back to the moving average, let those sellers, let them try to go lower, right? And if and when they fail, the odds are not good, right, that they're successful. When they fail, we can look for the buy, right, going right back in, just like we saw here earlier, right, in today's session. So rinse and repeat, strong trends going up, get below the moving average. You'll notice every time we get below the moving average, that gives us a great chance to be buying nice and low with a nice big reward waiting overhead. So what if price goes up? What if price goes down? What if price goes sideways? Well, again, we're bullish right now, so we'd love to see this price one try, two try, moving average comes over, they fail at the moving average into a pullback and go from there, right? And again, look at this area right here, and you can see the exact same pattern, right? Down, pull back to the moving average, they try, they fail into a pullback and explode going higher, right? This happens over and over and over again on these markets. So a pullback, again, to any of these support levels will work. I would even love to get this down inside of that battle zone, right? Rattle off that prior month low and buy off of the low of this channel tomorrow. Now, again, we talked about this on oil. Sometimes a real strong move like this, if the buyers think it's going to keep going higher, right? If the buyers think this is going to keep going higher, then they're not going to take their profit, right? They're not going to be sellers. And because of this strong move higher, does anybody want to sell this market right now? Not on my dime, I don't. So we can expect this market, we might just get kind of stabilized up here, and we may end up going sideways. If we end up going sideways, sideways basically means we're seeing a double top, right? We're not making new higher highs. Once we see that double top in place, then we know we have a trading range. Anytime I have a trading range, I want to follow the direction of the bias. In this case, it's bullish, and I'm looking for that one try, two try, right, and then back up in, right? Let those bears try once, let the sellers try again, and then once we see those sellers trying a second time and failing, then we can start looking for that buy, going back up to retest the high. What if price keeps going higher here? If price keeps going higher here, not much changes, right? Not much changes. All we really want to do now is just bring up our levels and keep watching for that pullback trap, right? We haven't seen any deep pullbacks after that big flush that we saw before the opening bell this morning, right? So if we do keep going higher here, this will continue with a really strong move. And you'd be amazed how many times we see a strong move, give us a shallow pullback, a little trap below a prior swing, and then right back up to retest that high. So that will be the plan tomorrow if we finish off that rotation going higher and if we continue to see strength here to the upside. So very, very strong trends here right now. And again, hope you guys use that newsletter from last night, right, to make a handsome profit here in today's session. How about some Nasdaq? Right, continuing here now, the little sister to the S&P, the Nasdaq is bullish with a strong finish for the bulls. And this spike in channel combined with a major bull channel are both telling me to look for buying opportunities with a two-legged pullback down in the battle zone tomorrow morning. As you can see here, I'm going to zoom out real quickly here on this. I have a large kind of hidden channel drawn in. Again, from last night's newsletter, if you were watching last night's newsletter, we had that battle zone waiting down at the lows there. Beautiful pullback into the battle zone. Failure at the moving average and jumping back up, right? You're not going to buy that strong move going lower. You're going to wait for it to pull back to the moving average. But once they fail at the moving average, you're on, right, to the upside. So that produces, obviously, a move back to the high of this channel. If I take these highs, right, line these highs up here, bring it down to that low, this becomes, in my opinion, the most reliable version of this channel. Now, we may expand this channel, right, a little bit higher. So I am keeping an eye on that for tomorrow, but it's a little bit tough to ignore all of these little bounces here right now, which makes me think, right, there might be more of a hidden channel here, right, to work with. So the risk potential, we go higher here. We get that prior high, which we talked about last night, which is probably going to be a big magnet for those buyers. And again, there may be, right, a kind of a higher notch or a notch higher here on that channel. So we'll be ready for that here, right, with all of our scenarios here going forward. So that's the big picture here right now, a monstrous run here. And boy, the bulls really got to be feeling good about themselves right now as we try to get back to that prior week high. Insane how much we dropped at the beginning of last week, and we are staring that prior week high right in the face here now at 68.13.5. So we definitely have some targets waiting here overhead, but how are we going to profit from this? Because I don't want to buy high here right now. Just like the S&P, strong move up into, I guess what we'll call a spiking channel. You know, I guess we'll call a spiking channel. It's not really the most obvious thing in the world, right? But strong move up, pull back, new higher high, we'll call that a spiking channel. And so anytime we have a spiking channel, we now want to start thinking about prior support levels, right? You got that 38.25 reversal line. You got that 0.2 reversal line, right? We get this prior swing down here at 96.25, right? These are all areas of support. I really, really, really want to get a buy off of this channel low, though, just because it is such an enticing area there. So I'd like to see us pull back all the way to the low of that channel. But honestly, mentally, I'm prepared to have to be a little more aggressive on this, just because we have that prior high sitting there overhead. So the most important thing right now is because of this strong move higher, we have to assume that buyers are waiting to buy low. And whenever I say buy low, I mean let's get below the moving average. You know, in a bull market, anytime we get below the moving average, and it really doesn't matter which moving average you're using. Okay, that's not the secret, right? The secret is whatever moving average you choose to use, just focus on that and learn how to use it, right? So, for example, this moving average here, and I'll walk you through all the indicators we use in our beginner courses here at School of Trade. But this, right, this moving average, every time we pull back below it, right, it's easy to see buyers keep buying it right up. So let's keep doing that tomorrow, right? So there's the moving average there. Let's get back below it. 2-try rule, right? 2-try rule, and then back up in, right? Sometimes the 2-try rule is pretty obvious. 1 try, 2 try, back up. Sometimes it's not so obvious, right? 1 try, 2 try, back up, right? Sometimes it's really small, that second try, right? But again, it all kind of makes sense, right? Whenever it goes below the moving average, bears try to sell it short, right? And if they do, they'll run down to the low of that channel. If they don't here, I'm looking for that rush back up, failure, pull back, right, and back up to retest that high. Again, make sure, though, you remember, anytime we want to buy at support, right? Anytime we buy, we want to buy at support. So I'm always trying to incorporate this coming off of some level of support, right? Hopefully we get a pullback down to the low of that channel, but again, we may not, right? It may be a real dramatic pullback here. This would be ideal, right? 2-legged pullback, moving average comes over. You get the trap low, 2-legged pullback, into the failure, into the strength, into the pull. I mean, there's so many opportunities here if we get a deep, deep pullback, right? Failure there at the moving average, pullback, moving average. So many opportunities we have if we can get that deep, deep pullback down into that battle zone, down into that reversal line. But again, such strength here to the upside, we may not get that, right? It may go sideways here, right? We may not have anyone take profit. And at the same time, there may not be any sellers that dare, right, that dare step in front of this freight train. And so the market may keep going sideways here for tomorrow. If that's the case, once we see double tops, in other words, once we stop seeing buyers making new higher highs, right, double tops tell me trading range tells me 2-try rule, right, and buy below that low. Again, though, trying to incorporate some of these levels of support, right, in on that buy. If you just simply focus your energy on buying at support, and I know it's not easy, it sounds easy, right? It's just buy at support, right? Buy when prices are cheap. But when the market is racing higher like this and you're watching pullbacks, shallow pullback, and nothing's coming to support, it's so easy. It's difficult to sit on hands and wait for that pullback. But it's so important that we do, because being a successful trader is all about putting yourself in a position where you can capitalize or participate in the big move of the day. And it's difficult to participate in the big move of the day when you're buying at the high of the day, right? Wait for the pullback. Then all the buyers will come in to buy the dip, and then you have your position, right? And you can get in on those big measured move, right? Big retest move of the day. And it's a lot easier that way, right? You'll buy at support, small amount of risk, large amount of reward. All right. Wrapping things up here on the Nasdaq, what if price goes higher here? Again, if we keep going higher, not much changes, right? If we keep going higher here, this spike in channel will continue. All we need now is to get that, right? Get that pull back, little trap low, look left, right? Find some of these support levels, right? And buy at support. Again, if we keep going higher, we don't want to buy at resistance, we want to buy at support. So wait for that move back. I wouldn't be surprised whatsoever if we get something like this tomorrow, where it goes up and kind of sits here around these highs, either 1 try, 2 try, right, buying back up again, trying to incorporate, right, a level of support there as well. So really easy plan here right now, pretty much across the board on all these markets. It's just a matter of waiting patiently here to buy at support so we can buy with a small amount of risk, right, and take a nice big amount of reward. Now gold really loves to make our job difficult this week, didn't it? If you recall, on Monday evening's newsletter, it was pretty much a range. Tuesday, last night, right, we had another range, right, or a bull spike in channel, right? Tonight, there's not a lot to work with, right? Had that big drop down at 8:30 news, and then of course this big monster, just kind of, I call these sleepwalkers, right? You know, kind of sleepwalks. It's almost like a zombie, right? It never pulls back, right, never pulls back to the moving average. You know, liquid markets that are in good condition, right, they're going to go up, they're going to pull back, right, they're going to go up, they're going to pull back. This has nothing of that, right? So this is very much all dollar driven, right? It's very much driven in the wake of that news that we saw this morning at 8:30 a.m. Whenever we have one of these kind of zombie sleepwalker, type of, right, kind of just running blindly higher here, the one thing we know for sure is that the only people who were able to participate in this were people who were getting out of short positions or people who were buying, literally buying the high, right? They were buying the high of that move. What that means is that there was never a chance to buy a two-legged pullback. That's where all of the conservative big money traders are going to be waiting. Now, if I drill in on this, most important clue I think right now is this really tight channel. Now, we talked about this earlier this week. If you watch the newsletter every evening, you know what this is called. What is this called right here? It's called a grind break, right? And the reason why it's called a grind break, it comes from an old saying I stumbled into many years ago, where when we have a channel, if we ever see the market break the channel and kind of grind up the underbelly, right? It kind of grinds up the underbelly of that channel. What happens is people are waiting for that two-legged pullback to buy low. So this doesn't give anybody a chance to buy low. If you look at that prior swing, it'll most often pull back and run higher from there. So the grind break, right? G-R-I-N-D, right? Grind break, grinding higher here, right? It's not picture perfect, but it's that lack of a two-legged pullback that tells me that there are a ton of buyers waiting below that 48.5 area. At the same time, if I take these two, because there's literally nothing else to use here, right? There's nothing else here, right? Again, that kind of sleepwalking mentality, sleepwalking personality to it. If I take these two highs and I pin them down to that low, right, that gives me something to work with here, right? So in all reality, you could look at this area right here as kind of your sweet spot, right, for tomorrow's buying opportunities, right? Now, with that said, right, we're also seeing a bit of that flag, right? We talked about this last night on the newsletter. Of course, it's going to make us a little bit more difficult for us tonight, right? That flag pattern. Remember, there are two ways to trade flags. You want to trade flags below the flag or above the flag, right? Those are the two places where, right, you want to be trading that flag. So obviously, we'd love to find the way to get in on the first one, down around the low of that channel, down below the grind break at 48.5, and wouldn't that be beautiful, right? If we can't find our way into that one, then be careful. Do not buy high, right? Don't buy high. What you want to do there is wait for that pullback, add in some support, right? And that'll be your move, right, going up from there. Now, don't forget, we may also go sideways here, right? Again, big, strong moves. If the buyers don't want to take profit, but nobody dares sell it, it may go sideways. That's fine by me. One try, two try, right? And we'll be a buyer with that two try rule, right? One try, two try, and then back up from there. What if price keeps going higher? If price keeps going higher, it'll probably end up being a spiking channel, right? And you know what spiking channels tell us, right? Yeah, they tell us, look left, find those prior swings, and stay patient for that trap low, right, and buy that trap low. We have some great juicy targets waiting overhead here at that prior month high. And wasn't there another level there? That must have been the euro there. So that'll be coming next. So prior month high, 1370, right? That'll definitely be something on our radar here tomorrow as well, if we can get this market to keep pushing higher here. Yellow metal, not a lot to work with for tomorrow. We got a strong move up with a grind break in a hidden channel. You know the plan. And then wrapping up tonight on the newsletter for our euro. Don't rule out the euro right now. I'll tell you, this euro has been a very, very good market in the year 2018. Euro is bullish with a strong move higher to finish today's session, all the way to the major measured move target, telling me that the most reliable buying opportunities will most likely come after a two-legged pullback down to support levels waiting below. Boy, oh boy, did this thing pull back all the way into that. If you recall from last night's newsletter, right, we had this up as kind of like a hidden, right, channel there, right, pulled back into it and then launched back higher. And isn't it a great example here right? Strong move down. You're not going to buy this, right? You're not going to buy that strong move down. That's like stepping in front of a freight train. You don't want to do that. What you do want to do, though, is make those sellers prove it to you, right? As I said on Monday night's newsletter, show me proof. They pull back to the moving average. There's your second try now, and you know where this goes, running back higher. This is the stuff we look for in a trending market. Every time we go back below the moving average, look what happens. It gets bought up like hotcakes, right? It is almost as if they can't get enough of this. It gets bought up every single time. Now, again, a lot of this is fueled by some weak dollar, right, after the news came out today, but it doesn't matter, right? It's very, very strong here to the upside. So what are we going to work with here for tomorrow? Well, anytime we see a strong move in one direction, we always know to expect a two-legged pullback and a retest of the high. So that's the basic principle for tomorrow. If it keeps going higher, right, we'll still wait for that two-legged pullback and buy the two-legged pullback for retest the high. Same thing we saw here, right? Strong move up, two-legged pullback, retest the high. Rinse and repeat over and over again. So as you can see here right now, I'm going to take these highs, right, line these up. I'm going to put that down to the low and create another one of these hidden channels. Now, obviously, this is a big, big pullback, so we may not get that much of a pullback today, but you never know, right? Look at the pullback we got this morning, right? So that could easily, as you can see, if we see something similar to that tomorrow, that's putting us, right around that hidden channel low. So don't rule it out yet. It is more likely, though, because we have this rocket ship going higher after that news, right? It is pretty likely, though, here that we shallow pullback, right, and retest that high before we end up with that deep, deep pullback. And, of course, to do that, I'm always watching levels of support. Mainly, I love this 24,200 level, right? That is a prior reversal line. Now, I get a lot of questions about reversal lines, right? Specifically, look at this move right here. Notice how we go above the reversal line, we come back, and we hold it as support. That, to me, is not a proper test. When it comes to a reversal line, I want to really go through it and then use it, right? Almost, the way that I think about it is that I want the reversal line to be one of those scenarios where people go, oh, yeah, that's right. I almost forgot about that reversal line. That's what I want it to be. I don't want the reversal line to be so obvious. Because that's what happens a lot of times, right? We get above it, they pull back, and they go. That usually isn't going to be the best test. I mean, obviously it's working, right? But that's probably just a channel. That's probably not the reversal line. What I'm talking about now is strong move up. I want this. Oh, yeah, that's right. There was a reversal line. That type of attitude to it, almost as if it was just a bit outside of our memory, short-term memory. But, oh, yeah, that's right? I want that type of separation between when the reversal line is made and when we pull back, right, and retest it. I hope that makes sense, right? I hope that makes sense. So I'm not looking for that just quick test. I want to see it go through, pull back, and then go. And then the pullback, it'll usually be a two-legged pullback, right? So as the price pulls back, looking for that two-legged pullback, trap low, failure, right, and then back up from there. Again, trying to incorporate a level of support to make sure we increase our odds of success. This is definitely the sweet spot here for tomorrow, right? That is definitely the sweet spot for tomorrow. Okay, if we go higher here, right, so pulling back, going up from there, right, if we go sideways, if we go sideways here, wouldn't surprise me at all because we're kind of sandwiched in between the prior month close, the measured move, and the prior week high, right? These are all levels of resistance up here, so not a good spot to be a buyer here right now. But again, up, down, up. Once we see a double top there, then we're still bullish, we're just not. We're not trending higher anymore. We're going sideways, one try, two try rule, and we'll look for that buy going back up, right, to retest that high. What if price keeps going higher? It easily could. We get that prior week high hanging out right above us, right? Real strong move. And again, a lot of this is based on dollar weakness right now. So we may see a bit more of kind of a push higher here. If we do, not to worry. Keep focusing on those swings, right? And again, right, wait to buy low. So if it does keep going higher here, that is not my clue now to start buying high, right? The higher it goes, I realize the more tempting it is to just jump in, right, and say, heck with it, jump in. But my goal here is always to buy at support rather than buy at resistance. I know it's a very basic rule, but I'll tell you right now, if I would have focused on buying at support instead of buying at resistance, I wouldn't have blown my first 3 trade accounts. I would have saved myself a lot of time and a lot of energy. When I was a new trader, I assumed that you had to have a lot of fancy indicators, tons of screens, tons of monitors, right? And it was the basic stuff that I never took the time to actually learn. It wasn't until I blew out my 3rd account. I'm not proud of it, but most people who are successful in day trading, they have to kind of pay their dues that way. It's one of the reasons why I think I'm a good teacher with this, is because I've been in your shoes before. I know what it feels like to look at a chart and think, why is this thing moving like this? Why does my stop get run every time I take a trade, right? A lot of it has to do with those bare bone basics, right? That most of us just don't take the time to learn because we want to jump in and make money right away. The problem though is if you rush into making money right away, the markets have a funny way of rushing you out the same way you came in, right? Just as fast as you started. So buy it, support, right? Don't buy it, resist. I know I sound like a broken record in this nightly newsletter saying that, right? But it really is something that really helped my trading, and it will probably help you as well. Guys, speaking of helping your trading, again, tomorrow, don't forget, we do have a bunch of news tomorrow morning, 8:30 and 9:15. Don't forget, a great way to help your trading is to join our free trial, become a client of mine here at School of Trade, join the trade room, learn from my 10 years of battle testing right in our trade room. It's insane to believe I opened up our trade room. I remember it like it was yesterday in 2008. Right? So 10 years running our trade room. From what I can tell, and maybe you guys can correct me, but from what I can tell, we have the longest running active trade room on the planet. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I can't find anybody else online been around even nearly as close as we have here at School of Trade. Not to beat my, to beat my own drum, but that's just the reality. Over 3,000 clients have graduated from the School of Trade here since we started. Really incredible, and I hope to be able to share all the lessons and all the knowledge I built over those 10 years with each and every one of you guys as well. Don't forget, if you're on YouTube right now, post those questions in the comment section. Right? Give me a thumbs up if you found value today. Share this video with a friend that needs help as well. And don't forget, you can find all the links in the description of that YouTube video, or head over here to the website at schooloftrade.com, grab that free trial, learn more about our strategies here at School of Trade, and while you're here, check out our beginner, intermediate, and advanced levels membership, right? That way you have a place to begin. If you're a brand new trader, our beginner course is going to make sure you start your business the right way. Our intermediate course will teach you all the correct use of technical analysis. I say correct because I have read probably over 1,000 trading books in my career, and every time I'm always disappointed in how inaccurate or ineffective or just outdated all of the technical analysis tools that are in these books are. I teach what I see working every single day in our intermediate classes, and then in our advanced classes, we wrap it all together: computer, software, charts, indicators, strategy, entry, exits, everything you need to be successful. I got it all here. All I need is you. If you're on YouTube, links in the description. If you're on the blog right now, look at the right-hand side of the blog and you'll find links there as well. If not, we'll see you guys on the homepage, schooloftrade.com. Don't forget, tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock Eastern time, same place, okay? And if not tomorrow morning, I'll see you guys tomorrow night before 8 p.m. Eastern time on my nightly newsletter. My name is Joseph. Thank you so much for being here this afternoon and this evening. Be well out there. Be nice to each other, will you? And be here next time. Adios, amigos.